we've both seen Speak No Evil, the 2024 version.
Yeah.
We've also seen the 2022 one.
Yes.
Neither of us generally do spoilers, but so there won't be any. So anybody who's not watched either, don't worry about it. What's your thoughts on the new one, 2024?
It's not as tense as the original, but I didn't think the first one, the 2022 one, was as tense film anyway. I know a lot of people sort of like screamed about how brilliant the film is. It's a good film, but it's just, it didn't have any tension to it. I think it's just because I'm so used to these kind of films. And again, neither did the 2024 version of Speak No Evil. There is no tension there. There was a playful nature to it, thanks to James McAvoy, because the way he can sort of like be those kind of people, he's got a good knack of being able to do it. He can be playful 1 minute, and then he could just be looking at you where he wants to rip out your eyeballs the next. He has that kind of nature to it when he's given those kind of characters to play. But there is no tension to it, because I felt what the 2024 film lacked was just any sort of like, tension. Because for the first 45, 50 minutes of the film itself, it was just a very normal movie. It was just like a couple going to visit this other couple who they've met on holiday just to go for a holiday in the middle of nowhere, pretty much. And there was just very little that happens in the movie. I know you're supposed to build up a relationship between them, but it just didn't feel like the relationship was there compared to the original. I felt the original had that relationship connection to it. I think it helped with the original as well, with it being a foreign language film as well.
Yeah.
So like taking you away from the UK kind of element of the remake, which I can understand why they've decided to do it that way. But I felt the original had that going for it. But where the remake had it going over the original, I just think the way it did the last 20, 25 minutes of the movie sort of like ramped up the malevolent nastiness of him.
Yeah.
And I know I sent to you a message on Twitter or X in relation to the way I perceive the ending to the 2024 one, which that's what I picked upon. I don't know if other people will, but that was my understanding of the way I think maybe the director went with it. Whereas with the ending of the 2022 one, I think it wanted to be ambiguous. I think it wanted to be sort of like, what the hell kind of thing. And it didn't get me that. I just felt it was a bit muddled, the ending of I know a lot of people, well, most people actually prefer the ending to the original compared to the remake.
Oh.
But it's just, it was like you were going for something like an Eden Lake kind of ending, or an ending where the ending is supposedly not as cookie cutter or as not with a bow on it as you were expecting it to be. But it's just the way they did it. It's like with the ending of the original, they gave up, that there was no fight left. Whereas with this one, the fight was always there because they wanted to survive. Yet in the original, it felt like they just didn't want to survive, that they thought, oh, we're in a corner now. We've got no way of being able to get out of this. We'll just give in.
But they weren't even in a corner, though, were they? I remember, because I saw this, the Soskas had recommended the 2022 one, and they'd put a Facebook post now, oh, we've watched this film. It's the most screwed up film we've seen in ages. I'm like, well, if they think it's screwed up, I'm definitely checking that film out. And I watched it, and I liked the film up until the ending sequence, and it annoyed me because I'm like, I get that these characters are kind of broken and they've just no fight left, but I'm not being funny. Nobody would ever make the decisions they did. Not going to happen. You know, it's not like and we're talking about the original one now. The child's still around. The child's not gone. If the child had gone, I get it. You go, well, do you know what? We've nothing to live for. Let's carry on with this ending. But that wasn't the case. And they just went, yeah, all right, and bad guys, do what you want. And it's like, no. And that took me right out of the movie. Whereas when I think you told me they've changed the ending, I didn't ask you what they changed the ending to, but I liked the ending of the 2024 one better because it was more believable for me that you would fight until you couldn't fight anymore.
To me, though, the ending of the 2024 one is slightly more Hollywood than the ending of the 2022 one. It definitely is. And considering the director of it, I've already mentioned his film, Eden Lake, and the way he ended Eden Lake, there was nowhere out at the end of Eden Lake. if you ended that with the boat on it, then that would have made that film. I think it would have lost pretty much everybody, and they would have thought, what was the point of the rest of the film? There was no way out at the end of Eden Lake. Not spoiling it, because I want people to watch that film and be shocked as pretty much everybody else has after they've seen Eden Lake, because it is a brilliantly brutal, nasty film.
Oh, it is amazing, brutal, nasty film. Yep.
But I think with Speak No Evil, it needed to end the way the 2024 one ended rather than the 2022 one.
Because I sat down with Annette the other day and we watched the James McAvoy, the James Watkins one, and she'd never seen the original one. So she's like, but very early on, she's like, no, I won't be doing that. They're weird. That couple's odd. And that comes across really fast in the remake. You're like, no, I'm not. Come to our house. No, I'm good, thanks. Bye. But maybe that's just the sort of people we are.
It was just even his mannerisms when he decides to take the sunbed, and just the way he drags it along beside the pool. Yeah. You just think, because he definitely knows that there's something wrong with him. Even just when they're walking down the stairs past the window of the hotel room where they're actually staying in, they just stop for a couple of seconds and peer actually inside to see what he's actually like. Yeah. Or even just the way the way he drives his daughter on the moped, you just instantly think, no. And then you go, why did you accept it? Just because you want to do something different? And, we'll get out of our comfort zone. Let's go and stay in this house in the middle of Scotland somewhere with this creepy family who we had very big, massive question marks against on holiday. It's just, no, stupid people.
You wouldn't do it. So there was a lot of that. So Annette was very mad at them. And how annoying were, and this is both versions, but I think more so, actually both versions, the husband. Not the James McAvoy husband, but the other one. Yeah. It's like, really? Just grow up here, for the love of God. What's wrong with you? So it's great to see strong women in films, but it's really annoying to see weak arse men in films. You're like, you're not going to bother? You're not going to look after your child? And why is it in horror films and probably films in general? It's usually children's decisions and the adults going, yeah, we'll follow that decision, that leads to fucking carnage. So when in both versions, I forgot my little teddy bear. We'll go back for it then to these people who have freaked us out so much, we're leaving. We'll go back for your bear. Be like, no, tough, you left it, you're not having it. I need my bear. Yeah, get out of it, you're nearly 12, get a grip.
I think parents' instincts are instantly to do exactly what the child wants just to make the child happy.
Yep. Because Annette was like, as soon as the whole return for the bear thing, they're all going to get in trouble now. I'm like, well, you're not wrong. You're not wrong at all.
Exactly. I can't say no, you're incorrect in regards to that, because if I was saying that, then I'm stupid then if that's the case.
But Annette preferred the new ending as well. So I am quite glad that they did alter it, because that was my main problem with the original film. We went back and watched the original ending because I wanted to show her what it was. And you're like, no, you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't just. So, but both were good films. Yes. I think, I don't know, I liked aspects of the original one more than the new one, but I think overall, anybody who hasn't seen it, I probably would say the McAvoy version's the better one.
I think they're both on even standing, because obviously, I give my films a rating. I gave both of them 3. So when Speak No Evil 2022 came out, I gave it a 3. This Speak No Evil, I gave it a 3.
Yeah.
So I think they're pretty even. There are a few things that the 2022 version does better than the remake, and vice versa.
I think the original one did the dance sequence, Ghetto Blaster sequence better, because I remember that being really uncomfortable to watch, whereas the McAvoy one, it's very sort of pantomime-ish. You're like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
So that felt a bit more tense.
What I liked more about the remake was the setting, because it did feel a lot more isolated, because that's what the UK was actually like. There was pockets of the UK which is very, very isolating, compared to where it was in the original. It didn't feel as isolated. So I like that slightly more than the original.
Yeah. But good films.
It feels weird to talk about a film that only came out in 2022 and a remake coming out in 2024.
It is weird, isn't it? I've seen people go, why did they remake it? It's like, because unfortunately a lot of people don't watch subtitle films.
Exactly.
And the new one has made far more money than the Danish one made. And
well, the unfortunate thing is the original only came out on Shudder. It was released digitally in the UK. It was never given a theatrical release. Whereas this one obviously has been given a theatrical release.
And then obviously you've got McAvoy, who's a name. You've got Blumhouse attached. So, those two things add a little bit to it. I don't know if McAvoy is one of those that people would flock in droves to go see, but he's a recognizable name. And like, oh, I like him. I saw him in Split or whatever. And they'll go watch it. But I would say if you have seen the new one, check out the original one as well. Because it's, like you said, for me, it's nearly as good. But I do prefer the new one because of the ending. Sat better with me.
It's been the best Blumhouse film for a while as well.